Hello everyone, Shroomraver here, and today I'm really excited to be bringing you my second week battle in Season 2 of the Pokemon Premier League. Yes indeed. Now, if you missed the team building video, that will be down in the description below. Go check that out if you want to see a sort of more in-depth reasoning behind the various members of my team. I'm going to go over them very quickly right now. I have basically got a sort of very bulky, physically defensive Victini, Scarf, Thundurus, Double Dance, mainly rock polishing, Tyrantrum, especially defensive Umbreon, bulky physical 3 attack Spikes Chestnut, and mixed defensive Assault Vest Sandslash. Now, my opponent today, as you may very well know, is none other than newcomer to the league, Evelyn, aka H2O Drinker, on Twitter and YouTube. Her links will be down in the description below as well, of course. Now, as I mentioned in the team building video, her team is incredibly threatening, and looking at what she bought, a lot of things that I was expecting. The things she brought to the party were as follows. From left to right across the screen, we have Feraligatr, Roserade, Druddigon, Infernape, Azelf, and Lipod. A lot of things I expected to see. The things I didn't expect to see mainly were the Oddish and the Crustle. Neither of them were there. Now, the first thing that instantly jumped out at me was no Mega Blastoise. Big weight off my mind. Because Mega Blastoise is one of the main things stopping my Tyrantrum. Very nice answer to my Victini. Now the second thing I noticed very shortly after that was no Zapdos. And whilst Zapdos' presence wouldn't have put me off as much, what that meant was that Evelyn was not packing hazard removal. And I have a spike setting Chestnut. And looking at various members of her team, I'm not entirely sure how prepared she was or how much she was expecting me to bring Chestnut, but no hazard removal on her side was going to be huge for me. It essentially meant that whenever I got a chance to set up spikes, I could do it with no real consequences on my end, except for her maybe bringing in a counter. But essentially, any spikes I got up, they're there to stay now. So looking at her team, it was obviously, as I expected, very, very offensive. There's a couple of things on there that can easily go mixed. I knew I'd have to sort of scout out the Ape and the Azelf if she bought them anyway, so that was something I was going to have to do here, try and find out what kind of sets they were running. Now, not a huge amount of bulk on her side. I was fully expecting physically defensive Druddigon, and then looking at her team, I decided that I was kind of expecting the Feraligatr to be bulky, really expecting a good amount of HP investment into that. Possibly some kind of Assault Vest Druddigon, maybe. It could even have been. But a lot of the things I was expecting were like offensive Roserade, physical Infernape, possibly mixed, or like Choice Specs or Choice Band Azelf. And that Lipod was going to be interesting. I really need to find out very early on, as soon as possible, if it had Encore, because that would really cut my sweeps, or my setup I should say, for my sweeps, like, short, dead in the water. So the plan really didn't change all that much. There were just a few things that I thought I was going to have to deal with that I didn't anymore. So, you know, plan is now very much focused on getting up those hazards, because they're there to stay if I can do that. Damage the Gator, damage the Druddigon, try and get some damage on the Ape, the Roserade, and the Azelf, because those are the things I were envisaging could be focus sashed. The Lipod I wasn't too bothered about. I felt like I had multiple ways of dealing with that. My main areas of issue were that 4 and 5 selection in the form of Ape and Azelf. I was still a little bit worried about the Roserade. However, I was much more confident seeing no hazard removal on Evelyn's side. So, with that being said, let's get straight on into the battle and see how things played out. So, here we go. Evelyn is issuing her challenge. Now, she leads off with her Lipod, and I thought it was either going to be Lipod or Ape to lead off with. So I hedged my bets and went with Little Dun the Victini. Bad matchup for me. I don't want to be a part of this. She can T-Wave me, she can knock off, she can do all kinds of nasty things. I switch into my best thing to take this on, which I think is going to be my Chestnut, as she goes for the Thunder Wave. Now, this isn't a problem for Chestnut. Chestnut ain't the fastest thing going. What this means is, I basically, if I can break through Paralysis, I have my spike set up turn 2. That's going to be fantastic if I can break through. She goes for U-turn, it does negligible damage. She was actually rocking max HP, max speed on this Lipod. She makes the offensive switch into her Infernape as I'm able to break through paralysis and go for the spikes. So if I can force this thing out and it's sashed, that's going to be broken and that's going to make things good for me. So Infernape is in, I'm going to go into my designated switch, which is going to be Victini, as Evelyn reveals the Fire Blast. Very interesting, and I was thinking, if this is fully special, I'm so happy with that situation. Because I don't mind that at all. She reveals Life Orb, so she's not sashed, she's also not scarfed. That means that Thundurus is just another thing that Thundurus can definitely outspeed. I knew that anyway. She then reveals Earthquake, so she's Mix Ape, as she says with her nickname, and that does over half of what I've got left. However, I just needed to live the hit, and I'm able to get off a Thunder Wave, which is fantastic. Thunder Waving this thing is going to be really nice indeed. However, even though I can outspeed, I was running calcs and it's looking like Bolt Strike is not going to be taking out an Infernape anytime soon. So, I'm going to make the switch, realising she could well have split her EVs. I'm going to go into Sandslash, who should be able to take any one hit. But Evelyn's going to make a switch of her own, not wanting to stay in with a paralysed, potentially crippled Infernape. She's going to go into Bahamut, or however you say that. That is Druddigan. This is fine for me. I know I can pretty much take any one hit, and I really need to scout out what it's doing. Shows leftovers, so at least it's not Rocky Helmet, which is always good. That means I'm not scared of going for a knockoff, I get rid of the leftovers, and I don't take Rough Skin. As she sets up the rocks, that means she is Sheer Force, so she's probably some kind of offensive rocker, I was thinking. But she doesn't want to stay in, she's going to withdraw her Druddigan and make the offensive switch into Roserade. You know, she'd baited the Rapid Spin here, she knew I was going to go for it, I had no reason not to, because she has no spin blocker. So she knew I was going to go for spin, so she makes the good play into Soloras here. Great nickname, great play on her part. And then she shows Black Sludge, and now I'm thinking, hang on, there's no offensive item on this, and I'm feeling a lot better at trying to deal with the Roserade. So I'm still going to go into Great John, so we've got a sort of Game of Thrones battle going on here. She goes for Hidden Power. I suspect Ice at this point. She's going for it on my Sandslash. My switch into Thundurus would mean I'd take super effective damage from it anyway. She's now going to show the Aromatherapy, which is really interesting. So now I'm looking at going, this isn't offensive at all. This is defensive Roserade of some description. As I go for the Wish. Turns out she's full physical defense, which means she'd be able to take a neutral Head Smash from Tyrantrum. Excellent team building on Evelyn's part. So I get a little bit of leftovers back. We've got a little bit of a defensive standoff here between Umbreon and Roserade. I'm going to switch out. I've passed a Wish at this point. There's nothing really that she can do to my Umbreon, and I'm going to make a very offensive play, go into my Thundurus. She sets up spikes of her own. I do not want hazards on my side. Here I'm going to go and test the water, see how much a Psychic will do, and it does well over half, which is great for me. And she's going to go for Hidden Power. Now it turns out it was Rock, so it's still super effective, and she gets a big old crit. I live on 6 HP. Absolute clutch from Thundurus, and I'm worried now. I see her switching into Azelf or Lipard. I'm choice locked. I'm going to go into Umbreon, which is a nice middle ground switch anyway if she wants to stay in. And I won't be taking too much damage from either of those two switches, I hope. But Evelyn is in fact going to go straight on back into her Druddigan. And I'm sort of wondering what she's going to do here. I'm not entirely sure, but what I really want is to get a Toxic on this thing as soon as possible. Toxic's going to be very nice to wear this down, and it'll force the Aromatherapy once again from the Umbreon. So I drop the Toxic, all very well and good, and at this point I believe she's just going to set up her Stealth Rocks. More hazards on my side of the field. What it also means is that Thundurus now cannot switch in anymore. This is no bueno. Thundurus is an early identified win condition for me, outspeeds everything on her team, barring a potential Scarfed Azelf. So I need to get rid of those as a matter of course, but I need to pick my moment. I'm going to set up the Wish just to, again, to scout out what this thing is going to try and do to me. And she goes for the Roar. And I get just the best thing ever. Of all the things she could have roared me into, I go into Tyrantrum. This is not what she wanted to see. I was praying that it was not going to be Thundurus. Thankfully, I go into the one thing that can deal damage here. Problem for Evelyn at this point is she can't afford to switch in anything on a potential like Head Smash. What I'm free then to do is go for Dragon Claw, and very crucially get the first KO of the match, taking out her Druddigan. No more rocks if I can get rid of them. And what's beautiful is I get the Wish back to full, so I'm looking in a really nice position. In comes Lipard. Now, she thought I was going to switch out here, I think, fearing the Thunder Wave, but of course I have a Lumberry, so I'm not fearing the Thunder Wave. She, thinking I'm going to switch out, goes for U-turn to try and get initiative. But I don't fear the Thunder Wave, I'm just going to stay in and click Head Smash. I've got no reason not to. What this means is she has to essentially sack something off, and she chooses Infernape. And you have no idea how happy I was to see that thing come in. All I need to do is hit a Head Smash, and I do. So that is going to clean take out the Infernape from there. It's got no chance of living. And down goes Infernape, and we're 6-4 up, and we're looking really good. Big threat is gone. But when one goes, another takes its place. In comes the Gator. Follow that link for good times. It's quite funny. So I don't want to stay in here. I need this thing. It's such a massive win condition for me. I'm going to go into Great John the Umbreon just to kind of see what it's going to do. I can't go into Sand Slash. I can't get the spin off against a Gator. And she goes for Dragon Dance, and now I'm scared. However, I'm running calcs, and I'm pretty sure there's a decent chance I can live a +1 waterfall from this Gator. I'm pretty sure. The range of health I'm at, I'm feeling fairly confident. So she goes for the waterfall. It comes in on the Umbreon. I think I went for payback here, but it doesn't matter. She gets a crit and takes me out. Now that crit possibly didn't matter. I'm not going to get too mad about it. This is a +1 Life Orb Gator after all. So in comes Chestnut. It's my best chance of stopping short what could be a very, very powerful sweep. And this is enough to scare out the Gator, which is fantastic. No more Dragon Dancing for now. She's going to go into Rose Raid, I know it, but I can't take the risk of going for Zen Headbutt at this point, because the Gator was too much of a threat. So I went for Seed Bomb, and that's going to do, like, laughable damage. It just, nothing at all. After Black Sludge, I believe she was right back to where she was. So here, she is going to do a little bit of scouting, I guess, and also an offensive switch into Paracelsus, the first showing of her Azelf. Now, I get paralysed here, which isn't a thing because I've actually gone for Zen Headbutt. It does mask that I have it, I can save that for later maybe, but you know, what can you do? So here, Azelf is in, I go into Little Dun because there are hazards on the field, and Victini is kind of fodder here. I'm sad to say. Azelf does miss a Fire Blast, which is, you know, nice, I guess, but it's rather irrelevant because she's obviously going to outspeed next turn. And she's going to go for Fire Blast again. Now at this point I'm thinking that this is a choiced Azelf, because she's just going for Fire Blast. If she could switch up moves, she might go for it not to risk the miss. What this means is I can go into Sand Slash here fairly safely. Because I can take a Fire Blast, you know, nice investment, 160 positive nature with an Assault Vest, I can tank that. She does get another crit here, but it doesn't matter. All that matters is I get the spin off, because at this point she's got no rocker, and her Spiker is at really low health, easily revenged. So she's going to withdraw Paracelsus here, fearing the knockoff, I guess, which I've already shown, and in comes Gator, looking to be able to try and set up on my Sand Slash at this point. Gets hurt by Spike because I do indeed go for the knockoff. This is very nice because I get rid of the Life Orb, which is just so nice. It's just a weight off my mind to see that gone. She's going to try and set up a Dragon Dance here, but I have nothing that I really want to switch in at this point, in case she just wanted to go for Ice Punch predicting Chestnut right off the bat. I just go for Earthquake to get damage on this thing, and it does a nice amount. She's going to go for the Waterfall here. That is going to take out Sand Slash. But Sand Slash has done a good job, you know. It's knocked off some items, it's got some decent chip damage, and crucially got those 2 spins off, which are very, very nice indeed. Good job, Sand Slash. In comes Nay, and now there are no hazards to take damage from. I'm feeling fairly safe against this thing. In now comes the Lipard, going to be taking a little bit of chip damage from those spikes. Once again, I'm not messing around, I do just go for the Seed Bomb here. I do score a crit, and that does take out the Lipod. Now that did matter, the damage roll, because she was max HP, meant it did matter. There were a few crits going around, so I think they kind of evened themselves out. Here in comes Paracelsus, and I did actually run out of time here. I really wasn't sure what to do. In the end, I think sacking off Chestnut was probably just the best play. She goes for Fire Blast, and down it goes. But here is the moment. It is now or never. I bring in my blue lines. Now is the time. If I'm going to be able to set up, it's now. She goes for knockoff, revealing she wasn't choiced at all, looking to get rid of a potential scarf, but I have Lumberry, and I set up the Rock Polish. Turns out that was AV Azelf, by the way. Sorry, not AV. Expert Belt, I believe. But I've now set up the Rock Polish, and the sweep is very much on. Azelf's going to switch out. In comes Sir Loras, the Rose Raid, who could take a neutral Head Smash from full, but at this range, it's not going to happen. Head Smash is going to come in and decimate the Roserade from that amount of health. Down it goes, third KO for Tyrantrum, and now in comes the Feraligatr. She kind of has to go for Aqua Jet here. She doesn't really have a choice, because I don't have to risk the miss at the range of health it's at. I can go for Dragon Claw. So she's going to go for the Aqua Jet. Lot of attack investment for her. It's going to do good damage, but not enough. I'm going to go for Dragon Claw and take out the Gator from there. Now, all she has left is Azelf. From this range, Dragon Claw is not a KO. I have to go for Head Smash. I have to bank on the hit. Can we do it? Better believe we can do it. Tyrantrum comes through, Head Smash lands, down goes Azelf, and that is going to be the game. So, excellent game there, Evelyn. Absolutely fantastic game. Really well played on her side. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And we come out with a 2-0 win. 5 KOs for Tyrantrum, putting in a huge amount of work. Alongside, actually, I think Sandslash put in some decent work as well. Along with Chesnaught being able to put the pressure with the hazards. Evelyn built a really nice team. There were a lot of spooky mixed threats. The Infinite, the Azelf, that setup Gator I was so scared of. Thankfully I was able to preserve Chesnaught well enough. But yes, that is going to be 2 from 2 for Parasect Germain in the Pokemon Premier League Season 2. Looking really good. I was much happier with that performance than last week's against Sly. I think I played a fair bit better. Not to take anything away from Evelyn, she played a fantastic game, making some very intelligent plays throughout the match. It was just unfortunate for her that I was able to save Tyrantrum till the very end to be able to put in work against the rest of her team. So, as I say, that leaves us at 2 from 2. We're looking good at this point. 2 wins early season is going to be, that's a great platform to build on. The differential hasn't been fantastic, but really the wins are more important at this stage. It's a platform to build on, and I think we can do that. Now, next week. And what a match this is going to be. I've been looking forward to this one for a little while, because next week we play against RhyQuinn and Nidoqueen's Park Rangers. What do I say about this battle? Always a pleasure to play against Ry. He's a very good friend of mine. Thoroughly enjoy recording with him. We record twice a week sometimes, But for this week, RhyQuinn, we are mortal enemies. And if you think that having Mamoswine and Darmanitan on your team is going to give you any kind of advantage, you are sorely mistaken. For those of you who don't know, RhyQuinn does indeed have premier threats in this kind of format, in the form of Darmanitan and Mamoswine. Mamoswine breaks cords, it breaks all of them. Darmanitan just hits ridiculously hard. They are 2 of the best mons in the format. But do you know who else is one of the best mons in the format? Sizzle. Do you know who had Sizzle? Slyroh. We beat Slyroh week 1. Infernape is another one of the premier threats in the format. Hugely versatile, can do a lot of things. You know who has Infernape? Evelyn. And we just beat her as well. So RhyQuinn, if you think for a second that because you have some threats, that gives you an advantage, you're sorely mistaken. And you can give the prettiest speech of your life before our game, but it is not going to matter a dime, because we can speak with the best of them, and I'll let my mons do the talking. So, ladies and gentlemen, you can look forward to that battle coming up next week, where hopefully we destroy RhyQuinn and go 3 from 3. Can we do it? I absolutely believe we can. Of course we can. We're confident. We've got 2 wins. RhyQuinn does not have 2 wins. He lost his first game. Now, I'm not sure if you'll have seen the second game, but I'll let you watch that in your own time. No matter whether he won or lost, we still have a better record at this point. We're going to come out of week 3 with a better record than him. But that's for another day. We'll get onto that next week. For now, check out links in the description to the PPL Twitter and YouTube. For all things PPL, all the news about trades, transfers, anything you want to know, you can find out down there. Also down there, Evelyn's links to her Twitter and YouTube, they'll be present in the description as well. Make sure you check them out. She's got a fantastic channel. I love her content. And you'll be able to see her side of this battle, her team building videos, all the battles that she goes through, and again, as I say, all of the rest of her fantastic content. So definitely check those out. Absolutely do it. Make it a priority. You know you can do it. But that's going to be it from me today. We take a 2-0 win over Herdier Bremen and Evelyn to put us in a good position on the table. Can we continue? You better believe we can continue. Keep supporting Parasect Germain, guys. We are going for the top. But I'm going to get out of here for now, so thank you all very much for watching, and I guess with that, I will see you all next time. Laters.